Okay, welcome back to Business Owners Speak. Today, I'm thrilled to have with us Randy Ballen with Ballen Bookkeeping. Randy, how are you today?
Great, thank you.
Excellent. We really appreciate you taking your time to tell us a little bit about you and the business. And so if you could, like I do with everyone, let's do just that. Please tell us a little bit about you and your business.
I'm actually a bit of a serial entrepreneur, so I have several businesses. I have a bookkeeping business, which is REI Bookkeeping Babes. We specialize in women real estate investors. And I am a real estate investor myself. So I have companies that I do that out of. And I most recently started a nonprofit addressing housing insecurity. So that is called Room to Rise.
Oh, very cool. Okay. Well, then we got a lot to get into here in our 15 to 20 minutes. So let's go back a little bit. Before you were a business owner, what were you doing before you started multiple businesses?
For a long time, I worked for Borders Bookstore for over a decade and was in management with them. And then, of course, they closed down. So after that, did a few other things, but kind of found myself as a woman turning 50, having some challenges finding a job, and was underemployed for a very long time. So I actually started looking for remote work because I thought it would be nice to have freedom over where I worked. Still did not want a business. My family all owns businesses. I wanted no part of that. But my dad was sick and I did want to be able to, spend time and not have to worry about it. But I kept coming across a program for starting a bookkeeping business, which is what I was doing immediately before. And so decided to go for it. Felt like there's not really job security anymore. No loyalty on the end of the employers or the employees. So why not? If I'm going to be counting on someone, it'll be me. So that's what we did.
And how long ago was that?
That was 2017 is when I started the course, and 2018 is when I started the first business.
Okay. And talk us through a little bit about what services you do offer.
So we are bookkeeping, and really our take on it is to offer you a partnership, right? Like, we are partners with you. We're proactive in our approach. We're not just recording what happened. We're educating you on different aspects of keeping the books. I do know a little something about entity formations as well with real estate investors. That's a question that comes up quite a bit because it is a bit of a complex issue. And so, again, our goal is just to really be there with you. We have a lot of value to add because we are also investors. So we can have a conversation about your books, but we can also tell you, trends we've noticed with this marketing firm or this app, or help in other ways. So it's really rewarding for me to be able to add that extra value to our clients. Sure. And really be a support for them.
So would you say is Ballen Bookkeeping, the main focus is real estate investors? To do
REI Bookkeeping Babes is that okay. Ballen Bookkeeping owns. It's a partnership between me and someone else. So REI Bookkeeping Babes is the name of the partnership, which Ballen Bookkeeping owns. Yes. Half of.
All right. So we'll get to the Bookkeeping Babes, but Ballen Bookkeeping doesn't have a typical industry, or do you have clients in all kinds of industries?
It just serves to own.
Okay. Got it.
Right. It was when I first started, I dealt with attorneys. That was our focus. But as I got into investing myself and realized the complexities of real estate investing, bookkeeping for that, I realized that's a real need for that. And again, felt like I could add value in a way. I am still good at trust accounting and I understand the attorney part of it, but I'm never going to be able to speak to you about what it's like to be an attorney, right? Like, I can listen, but I can't really feel it in the same way. So to talk to someone who's walking the same path as I am is definitely a more rewarding situation.
And so you kind of labeled it interestingly, where I think a lot of people see bookkeepers as, like you said, recording what already happened. So would you say you take almost a more strategic role with your clients?
Absolutely, absolutely. We help them brainstorm. Sometimes it's just listening to them, sometimes it's offering suggestions. And when you're focused on a particular niche, you get to see a lot of clients doing the same thing. So you can kind of see trends emerging just from our own client base. Or you can say, oh, you know, I know some clients that use that app and these are the issues that they had with it, or these are the great things about it that they love. So I feel like it really does give us that extra step above the typical. And bookkeeping's changed a lot just in the years that I've done. I've been a bookkeeper for about 15 plus years now, and it's really changed. You know, when I started, it was more just recording what happened because everything was manual. Now, as we get more automated, there's more and more time that I can spend with my clients, educating them and being strategic. You know, also we work with them, whoever their tax professional is. One of our jobs is to help them come up with questions to ask their tax professional. So we're not tax professionals. We can't answer the question, but I know what the questions are to ask.
Perfect. Okay, so what's something that you see that a lot of your clients seem to either struggle with or come to you because things are a mess and they didn't pay attention to a certain area? Like, do you see some regular trends that other people could learn from with just a little bit of effort?
Yeah, absolutely. Like I said, real estate investing is complex, and typically, if you're doing it as a business, which I think is a mistake that a lot of people make. Sometimes they think of it as somehow separate from being a business. Either they think of it like just a side hustle, or they think of it like it's an investment. It's not an actual business, but it absolutely is. And getting them to look at things from a per property basis, right? Like, it's not just, do I have money in the account at the end of the month, but how much money came from each property? Because why are you carrying a property if you're not producing profit from it? So a lot of times when they come to us, they don't really know if a particular property has been successful. A lot of times with flips, they're missing steps in the calculation. So they think it was profitable, but then you find out, oh, one person in the JV, like, they have a bunch of credit card statements they didn't turn in. So we didn't, we didn't know that. So again, we're asking questions. We ask a lot of questions, and that's definitely a big part of what we do. I do warn my clients, like, we will ask you, especially in the beginning, there will be a lot of questions as we're trying to figure things out, because I don't make assumptions. These are not my books. These are your books. I'm caretaking them for you, but they're your books. Yep. So I have to make sure that we're on the same page, and I'm not just making an assumption that this is this type of expense or that type of expense.
Right. All right. So, excuse me, 6 or so years in, after saying you'd never start and run your own business, you saw
I know my family spent decades trying to convince me to do my own business. I was like, nope.
So what do you think now?
I can't. I'm totally unemployable. I cannot work for anybody else ever again. Yeah, and like I said, I've become a serial entrepreneur, because I think once you crack that code, and once you realize, like, I can make something out of nothing, right? Like, I can do it. So there's no concern anymore. Like, what's going to happen if this or this or this? Like, I'll figure it out.
You'll just figure it out, right?
Something interests me, I'll do the nonprofit's a perfect example. Like, I just saw a problem that I might be able to contribute to the solution, and I just dove in. And
so can we talk about the nonprofit?
Absolutely.
All right. So, well, I don't want to frame it. You tell me what it's all about.
So Room to Rise addresses housing insecurity in vulnerable populations. So we do that 3 ways. We provide shared housing for populations, for For example, our first house is a Sunshine House. It's for women in distress. So abused or trafficked women, primarily. We house up to 10 women in that house and provide a sense of community. And our big mission, which a couple things differentiate us from other people in this industry, is that number one, we are not in a hurry to get them out of the house. If they're making progress towards goals that's going to prevent them from being in a crisis situation ever again, then take your time and get it sorted. So if they want to go to school, if they want to open a business, just working on personal development so that they learn their worth again is super important to us. And so they can be there for 5 years if that's what it takes, so long as they're working towards a goal, or maybe they're saving up to buy their own home. That is also a good goal. We support that. And then really our focus is on the personal development aspect of it, providing them with opportunities to take workshops and read books and learn different ways of looking at the world, and learning that your past doesn't define where you're going in the future. There's nothing special about me that I was able to do this. I just learned that having the belief and setting the goal and working towards it, you can make these things happen. So the second thing we do is workshops, educational workshops. A lot of people, these are for the community at large as well as the women in the house, because I meet so many people that think they can't own a home. And, you know, I meet people that are paying $3,000 a month in rent and think they can't own their own home. And even in this day and time, you absolutely can own your own home for that same money. And they might think that they have to have a 20% down payment, when in reality, maybe they don't need anything, or maybe they need 3%. Like there's many programs out there. And their credit report, they might think their credit report has to be higher. I have some tricks for getting it higher. Also, it doesn't necessarily have to be the height that they think it does. So just educating people, also a little bit about homeownership and what to expect, so people don't get in over their heads. They have a reasonable expectation of the unexpected things that tend to happen when you own a home. But I do believe that owning a home is a special thing that gives you a place in this world. And I think it makes you feel differently about your life. It's your sanctuary. For me, I love my home. Like, to come there, I love traveling. And then when I get home, I'm so excited to just be back in my space with my stuff, you know, just the way I like it. So that's that. And then the third thing we do is rent to own type situations. So for people that might not qualify for a traditional mortgage, example, women who have been the victims of domestic abuse, a lot of times their credit is destroyed. They don't have a good job history. These things are by design. And they might have kids. They have to be in a good school district, in a good neighborhood. We can offer them this solution to get them into their own home and eventually be able to get with a traditional mortgage person. But in the meantime, they can be paying rent and having part of that rent go towards their equity.
That's amazing. Where who came up with the name?
Actually, my brother's girlfriend came up with the name.
The name is beautiful. I love that.
He is brilliant. Yes. And it was a fantastic name. Yes. I'm quite lucky. We did a lot of brainstorming and she came up with many names, and that was just, it embodies everything that we want to say.
Right. And how long's that been in place, the charity?
This year.
Oh,
we started in January. Yeah, we started in January, and it took about 6 months to get our IRS designation letter. So we've been official for a month with the IRS, but we've been doing things long before. So like I said, we have our first house and hope to have many more.
Okay, so it kind of marries in with your entrepreneurial real estate investment world and whatnot. So do you have 10 women in the house currently?
No, we're just getting started with it. I believe we will fill it up very quickly and be moving to the second house. That's my goal. A lot of the places our crisis intervention. And so they put you there for a couple months, maybe a year, just to get you in a slightly better place than when you walked in the door. But a lot of times you'll end up back in the same place. And so that's our goal, is to really stamp out housing insecurity and get on a national level. And I work with other nonprofits and for-profits that address shared housing solutions and different ways of addressing this, looking at converting schools or shopping malls or motels into housing for people that need it.
Yeah. What is your plan for fundraising?
Corporate sponsors are always welcome. For 10,000, they can sponsor a bed for a year. We also work with other nonprofits and religious organizations that support the women, in this case, women. In the future, our houses will be different houses. They're not all for this category of people, but there's organizations that support them and have the funds to pay for the bed fees, but they don't have the beds.
Right.
So we're here to provide the beds. And then some of them might be private pay too. I mean, if somebody's staying there for 5 years, at some point they've gotten a job, and our bed fees are $850 a month, start at $850 a month, and that's everything but food. So their personal care items, their household items, all their utilities, it's all provided. So I'm in South Florida, that's an unheard of number. But it's a program to get you to a better place.
Sure.
So at some point, like I said, people, and also different class, we have a house for seniors, let's say, they could be private pay. Adults with disabilities, there's a lot of different people out there who have housing issues these days.
All right, so I guess I'd ask, what is something that has been surprising, challenging about starting a charity like that?
I have always worked with a lot of nonprofits, and actually we always joke because I've discouraged a lot of people from starting a nonprofit. I think people underestimate the amount of work that it takes to create a nonprofit. I thought I had an idea. I did not have enough of an idea. I wouldn't trade it for anything, but it is a lot. There's so many moving parts on this. It's just a lot. And it's in this type of nonprofit, there's also a big emotional cost. You want to help everybody, you want to do all these things, and you're constantly being asked things that pull, like, we would love to help people with children. Right now we're not equipped for that. This isn't the solution for that. We're working on one. People that love their pets, and it's like, I know, but I can't have a house with 10 pets. Somebody's gonna get bitten or hurt or scared, and then we hurt the others. So it's really thinking of this as a community, and we have to always do what's best for the community as a whole.
Yeah, as soon as you start doing that, it opens your eyes to just how many people are out there that need services like what you're offering. So that's amazing.
There's so many times that I speak. Just this morning, I was at an event and I spoke about Room to Rise. And then afterwards, one of the professional women came up afterwards and said, that was me. Like, I would love to talk to you about the experience I had when I had to go into crisis housing. There's so many people that it affects that you wouldn't know. And that's another thing that we want to do, is bring these women into the house to show the current residents, like, look, this is for real. Like, you can do whatever you want to do.
Sure.
We're here to help.
Some of those stories, right? Yep.
Absolutely.
That's amazing. Well, Randy, I guess, could you leave us with some advice for either a business owner or someone trying to run or start a nonprofit?
Which is still a business.
Which is still a business. So.
It's still a business. So it still has to run. You still have to get funding. I think it's a lot of work. For profit, nonprofit, doesn't matter, but it is a different type of work, and it's so rewarding. And like I said earlier, I really can't imagine going back to working for someone else and not having control over my own destiny and what my day looks like. And sometimes the biggest wins, it's the little things, right? Like a friend or my son can call, he's in Orlando, and say, oh, do you want to have lunch today? And I could just get in my car and go. I don't have to ask for permission. I don't have to
A lot of time off slip.
exactly. I just get and I in the car and I go where I want to go. So it's really those moments with friends and family that, like, those little unexpected lunches or coffee or just, meeting up with people, being able to use your time the way you want to.
Yep. That is so true. And look, Randy, I really appreciate and enjoyed learning about Ballen bookkeeping, but also Room to Rise, amazing group, an amazing charity or nonprofit. And I know you're just getting started, but it sounds like you've got a pretty good plan. So I'm sure we'll be hearing plenty about it in the future. So thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you so much.
You bet.